ladies and gentlemen, the members of the Order of the Golden Heart. In your case, there is a word that profoundly captures your SigEp experience better than any other, and that word is yes. Each and every time your brothers have called on you for aid, this was your answer, yes. For you, it wasn't an inconvenience or an obligatory requirement. It was a calling. You shared many times how fortunate you feel to be a part of this brotherhood and that your life wouldn't be what it is without SigEp. All along the way, you've humbly agreed to help others. After graduation, the fraternity staff asked you to serve SigEp as a regional director. Following an impactful year of service, you again agreed to help, this time as a member of the Richmond staff, where you made an enduring impact on undergraduates and volunteers across the country. After your time on staff, you relocated and became a chapter counselor, starting your own volunteer journey. One of your nominators wrote, "He was a confident and determined leader who set the bar high for all of us in the chapter. He demanded the best from himself and the same from the rest of us." A few years later, you accepted the position of district governor, a role you've now served in for nearly 20 years. You've led national events, local workshops, and tough conversations, all the while inspiring generations of SigEp brothers with your commitment to our brotherhood. Throughout your years of service, you maintain a humble servant's attitude. You are quick to praise others and reluctant to get credit for what you see as your duty to give back to our brotherhood. You often cite the impact your local volunteers made on you as a young man, and in the years since, you've repaid that kindness to the thousands of brothers you've encountered. Several years ago, you said yes, yet again, to a monumental task, restarting your own chapter. With the support of your guidance and unfailing commitment, local volunteers led the new chapter to chartering 2 years ago. At the banquet, you spoke on a topic near and dear to your heart: service. The chapter is now more than 100 members strong, and after going 30 years since its last Buchanan Cup, earned another one this week. And your service played a large part in that success. Another one of your nominators said, since his graduation over 35 years ago, he dedicated first his professional life and then a substantial part of his personal life to the betterment of Sigma Phi Epsilon. His impact on his home chapter continues to be immeasurable, as is his impact on chapters in his district as district governor and on the fraternity as a whole. You often remark that SigEp has given you your closest friends, and I'm honored to be one of those. And it was a piece of advice given to you by one of your dearest friends that inspired your attitude toward service. When you were first provided a volunteer opportunity, you asked for his advice. He said, "Nothing happens without the word yes. It makes all things possible." We are so grateful to past Grand President Phil Cox for that advice, because it inspired your decades of faithful love and support. You see the world through the eyes of a true servant leader, and when your own achievements are recognized, you find a way to place the credit elsewhere. But today, your brothers want to thank you. You've said before that life is the direct result of the decisions you make. Yes, my brother. And today we recognize you for a lifetime of decisions to place your brothers before yourself, and we are honored to present you, Joe Langella, with the Order of the Golden Heart.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, I just can't believe this. I'm completely overwhelmed. I don't really know what to say. I know that surprises lots of people. There are so many people that I want to just recognize. The first person I want to talk about is my chapter counselor when I was an undergraduate. His name is Jerry Dallas, and it was Jerry Dallas that modeled the way for me. He was our chapter counselor that dedicated everything that he had to our chapter when I was an undergraduate. And he was someone that I could just never let down. And I made a commitment to him that I would do whatever I could to serve at least our Connecticut Alpha chapter. And then, of course, the fraternity as a whole when I became a regional director. And I would not have become a regional director if it had not been for Jerry lobbying the headquarters staff to bring me into Richmond and to ultimately hire me as a regional director. Another mentor of mine is actually sitting to my left, and that's Chuck White. Chuck White was my boss when I was a regional director, and then when I came back on the headquarters staff as alumni director. And I learned a lot from Chuck. He took a chance on me, a young kid that looked like he was about 12 years old when he joined the headquarters staff. And he and Sean McKenna hired me. And then ultimately I had a chance to work for Ken Maddox as well. I feel blessed to have worked for both Chuck and Ken at the same time during my time on the headquarters staff. And I learned a lot from both of them. And I've never tried to let them down. I also think of Frank Ruck, and I know that Frank has had a tremendous impact on so many people, and he had a tremendous impact on me. And when Frank accepted the Order of the Golden Heart at, I believe, the 1985 Conclave in San Antonio, Frank said something that stayed with me. He said, "I've just tried to be useful." And that's what I've tried to do. I've tried to be useful. But I can't imagine what my life would be like without SigEp. All my close friends are SigEps. I met my wife through my close friend, Chris Bittman. Chris and I worked together, along with Phil Cox. And now I'm thinking about Phil. And I know he's with us tonight. I'm just really blown away. I sometimes think I'm just too young. I've got a lot more work to do. The district's not in that great shape right now. You know, there's a lot that needs to be done. And I'm just glad that my family's here. My brother Michael is here. My brother Michael's a SigEp. My brother Paul is a SigEp. And my dad is the first Renaissance brother of the Connecticut Alpha chapter. So SigEp runs deep in our family. We take it seriously. It's a really big deal. I'm honored, and I look forward to continuing to be useful. Thank you.